Hi, everyone. Welcome to DM Druggies Matter, my little segment that I do as part of my Pot Smokers Bible channel on YouTube and social media. I started this uh, particular segment because I want to speak directly to the pot smokers and the drug users and to give them a voice. Eventually I want to give them a voice, but I want to be, somebody has to step up and say it, okay? Somebody has to be the first one to say, look, America, the war on drugs is wrong. It's always been wrong. It'll always be wrong. It's against everything America stands for. And if you want to fix America, end the war on drugs. And that's what DM is. DM is Druggies Matter. It's our way of saying, look, you don't have the right to judge us based on nothing. So I started this segment because my job, literally, my first priority in life, my reason for breathing every day is to champion the cause of the drug users. Because we are the one people in this world that have no voice, that have no representation, that have never in their existence had a single person to stand up and say, prove that you're right. Prove your allegations against us because that's all you have. So, in preparation for today's show, I've jotted down just a few points of why the war on drugs was never right, could never be right, will never be right, and should be ended post haste. So, it's like when I started this, I wanted to see how closely Donald Trump's white supremacist bullshit paralleled America's views on the war on drugs. So that's where this started. Okay. Now, I tried to go back to the beginning of his administration and what the major points were of what people were outraged by and how that was paralleled in the war on drugs. But then it evolved into something more as in exactly what's going on in America. So forgive me for the Trumpiness of it all, okay? Because that was the thought. Because I'm trying to illustrate a point here that Trump may have been on the surface somebody that you could follow because he was anti, but how in truth he just showed you your true problem. He like he like opened the curtain so you could see the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room being the war on drugs. Okay. Now, my first thought was immigration. Now, in 1984, I believe it was, Ronald Reagan declared a war on drugs. Now, in doing so, he created an alien problem within the United States in regards to drug users. Because war, by its very nature, is an armed conflict between two sovereign nations. So he literally disenfranchised every drug user in America. Literally declared that you either were a member of the nation of drugs or you were a member of the United States of America. And that the two were at war, making every drug user an immigrant, an alien within the boundaries of the United States of America. But you can't build a wall. Well, you can't. They're called prisons. Now, my second, because I was thinking along the lines of the immigration problem, which was the foundation of Trump's rise to power. And the first incident where he truly appalled the American people, and that was the caging of the immigrants and the separation of the families. And at the time, and now, bull fucking shit, people. Where were you when the Bruliette family here in York, in Nebraska, were taking out of their parents' house in the middle of the night at gunpoint by the police, white children, aging from ages 4 to 13, hauled literally out of their bed by the police in the middle of the night because their parents, drug users, were deemed to be unfit. And I'll be the first one to admit to you that they were. However, I had been helping take care of those children for years. Everybody in town knew it. So, and I actually went through the foster care system and was going to adopt those children, except for my proxy husband decided that he wanted a pickup truck instead. I ended up divorcing him over that. But anyway, these 5 children were forcefully taken out of their beds in the middle of the night from a sound sleep by the police department in the state of Nebraska. For what? For their parents being unfit. Yes, their parents were unfit. I will be the first one to tell you that. And Laurel, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you were an unfit mother. Not because you tried to be unfit, but because your husband was a monster. And he will be redeemed in rebirth, so we're good with that. But you were the victim of his. You loved him, and I'll leave it at that. But you tried your best. And if this government was not anything other than a piece of shit, they would have helped her fix her problem instead of yanking her children out of their beds in the middle of the fucking night at gunpoint with guns blazing. Their guns were out, I'm told. Children of my people who were under the welfare system because Gary had broken his back and could not work. Laurel was taking care of Gary and 5 children on government money. Right there is the fucking problem. She had no help in any regards but that help which I was able to give her in my brokenness. So, I guess we're not going to go into my list. This is going to take more than one show, of course. I mean, this is a long list, and I've only gotten to the second one, which is really illustrating a point. The foster care system in the United States of America is a hypocritical, diabolical means by which the United States of America has literally separated my people from my children from their parents for decades in the name of the war on drugs. Children have been brainwashed to hate their own parents by this system. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about because I went through the foster care program in the state of Nebraska, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. I actually graduated that fucking class, by the way. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. The foster care system is nothing more than a propaganda scheme to take children away from their drug-using parents and to completely alienate them from their own families in the name of the war on drugs. You want to fix America? End the war on drugs. End the foster care system. If you want a better idea, I've got one. Why don't we institute state licensed and state funded nanny care systems where the United States of America can provide professional, qualified, vetted child care providers for every child in the United States of America. Every community should have a government-run daycare system so that every child in the community can have equal protection under the law. Our children need us to grow the fuck up and stop separating them from loving parents who have done nothing more wrong than choose another way of life. In a democracy where every citizen is supposed to be guaranteed that very right. So end the war on drugs, because you're a hypocritical asshole if you don't. And there can never be unity in any nation as long as the people can be oppressed for nothing more than their choice of pastime pleasures. And if you think that the war on drugs is anything other than that, then you're a fool. Just go up to any long-haired hippie, any drug user that you've ever seen on the street, and ask them, why do you use drugs? And I bet you 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you, because it makes me feel good. Because I have a good time. Because it's a good time. So justify that. Justify in a democracy where everyone is given the same right to self-determination, pursuit of happiness, and the privacy. In a capitalistic system, a free enterprise system, where a certain segment of the population are denied the ability to buy that which they desire, with money that they have rightfully earned, by the way. So, the United States of America is a hypocritical nation that separates children from their rightful parents for no better reason than they used to kill the black people in America. I'm sorry, Black Lives Matter, but I have news for you. You may be more oppressed than your history may be. You may say that your history is longer, but I beg to differ. The United States of America was founded on indentured servants as well as slaves. It was a form of slavery. And poverty of the white people is still as restrictive as that which you suffer. Maybe white people aren't willing to kill white people as often, and that is, I'm sorry, true. I'm never going to say that more black men don't die at the hands of police than white, because you have a point. It is true. But please don't tell me that my children are any less victimized than yours. And, by the way, how many of you guys use drugs? Think about that. Because every black person who uses drugs is a part of the drug nation. Every Hispanic person who uses drugs, every Asian, every Native American, every Indian, every Palestinian, every Jewish person, every person in the United States who uses drugs is oppressed for their very use of drugs. And that crosses every line in America. There is not a family in America that doesn't have at least one drug user in it. There's not a single ethnic group in America that is not oppressed for drug use. There is not a college that doesn't oppress drug use. There is not a religion that doesn't oppress drug use. There is not an institution in the United States of America that does not institute all-out oppression of drug users. So may the Great watch over us, guide us, protect us, and keep us all from harm. And may they teach us right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice when we get to the camp. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to believe me. I know. I wrote 2 books about it. My name is Zion. I love you way too much to ever say goodbye, so I'm going to say later now.